The Saint and the Sinner. Part 1, First Scene. A crumbling cathedral turned private club. By day, a forgotten relic. By night, a secret playground for the elite, masked and anonymous. Red velvet. Candlelight. The scent of sin and sanctity in the air. Reverend Dr. Isolde Marin, theologian, published author, and whisper of morality in a godless world. She walks in grace, adored by many, but harbors a craving she's buried deep beneath scripture and self-control. Celeste Noir, excommunicated artist, scandal-wrapped heiress, and the club's most untouchable invitation. Rumors say she paints in the dark with her hands and kisses with her soul. When Isolde walks in unrecognizable in her mask, guilt clinging to her like perfume, she has no idea she's walking into Celeste's den. Celeste knows. And she wants nothing more than to make the Reverend beg. Isolde does not see the dark figure before she feels her breath on her ear. Tell me, Reverend, do you feel closer to God when you're on your knees? Celeste breathes it against her skin like prayer. Then she was gone. Isolde, in a midnight blue gown that whispered elegance rather than screamed it, felt the ancient stones hum beneath her heels. The cathedral, St. Jude's now known only as the Sanctuary, pulsed with a low thrum of illicit energy. The scent of aged incense, a potent cocktail with the sharper tang of expensive perfume and something darker, something primal, filled her nostrils. She'd come seeking escape. Not from the world, exactly, but from the suffocating weight of her own impeccably crafted facade. Tonight, she wore a mask, a simple black lace affair that concealed nothing and yet somehow shrouded everything. It was a paradox, much like her own existence. Celeste Noir was a legend even amongst the club's exclusive membership. Isolde had only glimpsed her once, a fleeting image of raven hair spilling over a crimson velvet chaise lounge, a hand adorned with rings like obsidian stars sketching across a canvas bathed in the flickering candlelight. The rumors were intoxicating, a woman who painted with blood and tears, whose touch was both blessing and curse. Tonight, Isolde hoped to be cursed. The Forgotten Cathedral Club, night. The heavy oak doors creak open, and Isolde Marin steps inside, her silhouette framed by flickering candlelight. The stained glass windows cast kaleidoscopes of shadow and color, but her eyes search the crowd, sharp and guarded. A low hum of whispered laughter and clinking glasses fills the air. She navigated the labyrinthine corridors, the hushed whispers of masked figures brushing against her like phantom moths. The air crackled with anticipation, a silent conversation between the shadows and the desires they held captive. A hand, gloved in black leather, reached out and gently guided her towards a secluded alcove draped in heavy velvet. From the shadows emerges Celeste Noir, draped in a silk black dress that seems to swallow the light, a mask concealing all but her smoldering eyes. She watches Isolde, a slow, knowing smile curving her lips. The rumors hadn't exaggerated her beauty. Her face, partially obscured by a mask of intricately carved bone, was framed by a cascade of raven hair that resembled a dark, silken river. Her eyes, the only visible features, were pools of liquid midnight, intense and knowing. Celeste offered a slow, almost predatory smile. Reverend Marin, she purred, her voice a husky contralto that sent a shiver down Isolde's spine. I've been expecting you. Isolde felt a warmth bloom in her chest, a heat that had nothing to do with the flickering candle. I believe I've been seeking you, she replied, her voice a little breathless, betraying the carefully constructed composure she usually maintained. Celeste's smile deepened, took a seat behind the heavy oak desk. She gestured towards an empty chair. Join me, Reverend. Let us explore the darker corners of God's creation together. I think we'll find them far more interesting. The candlelight danced in Celeste's eyes, reflecting the unspoken desires that hung heavy in the air between them, desires as old as sin itself, and as potent as the forbidden sacraments whispered in the shadowed heart of the crumbling cathedral. Celeste. Soft, dangerous. Welcome to my sanctuary, Reverend. Isolde's breath catches. She is equal parts tempted and terrified. Isolde. This place, it defies everything I preach. Why am I here? Celeste steps closer, voice dropping to a velvet purr. Celeste. Because even saints crave sinners. She brushes a fingertip along Isolde's jaw, the touch electric. Isolde. Whisper. And what if I fall? Celeste. Then I'll catch you or break you. A pause. The air thick with unspoken promises. The saint and the sinner. Part 2, darker, more seductive. Celeste's fingers trail down Isolde's neck, grazing the pulse point where temptation beats fastest. Celeste. Voice low, silk over steel. You think falling is the end? Darling, it's only the beginning. The surrender. The exquisite unraveling. Isolde's breath hitches, caught between fear and need. Her hands tremble at her sides, the weight of her control slipping like sand through fingers. Celeste leans in, lips grazing the shell of Isolde's ear, hot breath igniting a wildfire beneath the Reverend's cool exterior. Celeste. What if I told you I see every secret sin you've buried beneath your prayers? The ones you whisper when no one's listening? Isolde's eyes flash, a mix of defiance and hunger. Isolde. Whisper. You don't know what you're tempting. Celeste's laugh is a low, dangerous melody, a promise and a threat. Celeste. Oh, I know. And I crave the thrill of your resistance. It makes the taste sweeter. With a deft hand, Celeste pulls Isolde closer, the heat between them thick enough to drown in. Celeste. Softly. Tell me, Reverend, have you ever fantasized about sinning with your eyes open? Isolde's lips part, a confession waiting to slip free. A candle flickers nearby, shadows dancing on their skin as the cathedral walls echo with silent vows of temptation. The saint and the sinner. Part 3. The pull deeper. Celeste's hands are no longer gentle, they command. Trace the curves of Isolde's shoulders with a promise of both pain and pleasure. The air thickens, scented with burning wax and wild anticipation. Celeste. Whispering, possessive. Let me show you what lies beyond your prayers, Isolde. What the saints never speak of in hushed confessions. Isolde's breath shudders. The cold chains of self-denial begin to break, one by one, melting under Celeste's touch. Her hands curl into Celeste's waist, an involuntary plea, desperate yet terrified. Isolde. Soft, trembling. I'm not sure I'm ready, but I don't want to stop. Celeste smiles, a predator savoring the moment just before the hunt. Celeste. Good. Because once you taste this freedom and surrender, you'll never want to be saved again. She dips her head, trailing kisses down Isolde's neck, marking her territory with a fire that burns away every last shred of restraint. Isolde's hands clutch the silk at Celeste's hips, nails digging in as she finally gives in, the boundaries between sinner and saint blurring into a delicious, dangerous blur. The saint and the sinner. Part 4, Inside the Layers. The heavy velvet curtain falls behind them, sealing the world away. The dim glow of candlelight casts a trembling halo around Isolde's flushed skin. Celeste's hands explore with reverence and hunger, mapping the sacred terrain of Isolde's body as if deciphering a holy scripture written in flesh and flame. Celeste. Soft, reverent. You are more beautiful in your surrender than any prayer I've ever heard. Isolde's breath hitches, lips parting to catch Celeste's, their mouths meeting in a slow, deliberate kiss that tastes of temptation and promise. Her hands tremble, reaching up to thread through Celeste's dark hair, pulling her closer, needing to feel the undeniable heat of her. Isolde. Whisper. Teach me how to sin without regret. Celeste's fingers trace a path down Isolde's spine, igniting sparks that crawl beneath her skin and set her nerves ablaze. Celeste. Seductively. Close your eyes. Listen only to the rhythm of your own heart. Forget the sermons, the rules, the prayers. Isolde obeys, surrendering to the darkness behind her lids, the exquisite sensation of losing control. Celeste's lips trail a line down her neck, pausing to nip softly, drawing a gasp from Isolde that echoes like a prayer of its own. Celeste. Whisper. This is the hymn of the sinner, the song of passion that even saints long to sing but dare not. Isolde's fingers tighten around Celeste's waist, her body arching into the touch, a dance of defiance and desire tangled in one. The boundary between saint and sinner dissolves with every breath, every touch, an endless spiral of need and release. The Saint and the Sinner. Part 5. The Whispered Secret. Celeste's mouth hovers just above Isolde's ear, breath warm and intoxicating. Celeste. Soft, almost conspiratorial. There's something you don't know about me, Reverend. Something that would make even your faith tremble. Isolde stiffens for a moment, then meets Celeste's gaze, eyes wide with a mix of fear and fierce curiosity. Isolde. Tell me. Celeste's smile darkens, shadows flickering in the candlelight. Celeste. I wasn't always the sinner you see before you. Once I wore a halo too, but I lost it in the most deliciously devastating way. She leans in, her voice dropping to a whisper only Isolde can hear. Celeste. I betrayed everything I believed in, for a love that burned too bright and a secret that could shatter us both. Isolde's breath catches, the weight of those words pressing against her chest like a confession she wasn't ready to hear. Isolde. What secret? Celeste's fingers trace a line down Isolde's arm, steady and sure. Celeste. One that binds us, saint and sinner, whether you choose to believe it or not. A pause. The air thick with unspoken truths and the electric pulse of something dangerously close to fate. The Saint and the Sinner. Part 6. The Secret in Shadows. Celeste's eyes darken with a hidden storm as she holds Isolde's gaze, lips curling into a slow, knowing smile. Celeste. Softly, almost teasing. Some sins are born from betrayal, not just desire. Have you ever felt that the sting of a truth too sharp to face? Isolde's brows knit, mind racing, heart hammering. Isolde. Whisper. Betrayal? By someone you trusted? Celeste's fingertips graze Isolde's collarbone, the touch featherlight but electrifying. Celeste. Maybe. Or maybe it was by yourself, in a moment when love and loyalty collided and shattered. Isolde swallows hard, the flicker of recognition in her eyes. Isolde. Soft guessing. A love forbidden. One that demanded a sacrifice? Celeste leans in, breath warm, voice barely above a sigh. Celeste. Sacrifice is the currency of secrets. And some debts never really disappear. Isolde's pulse quickens, the weight of unspoken histories pressing between them, binding, breaking, and beckoning. The Saint and the Sinner. Part 7. Shadows and Whispers. Celeste's fingers trace a delicate line along Isolde's jaw, tilting her face so their eyes lock in a fierce, intimate stare. Celeste. Sultry, probing. Tell me, Reverend, is there a name you dare not speak? A face you see in your darkest prayers? Isolde's breath catches, a flicker of something vulnerable, raw. Isolde. Whispers. There was once someone I loved so fiercely it nearly broke me. Celeste's smile deepens, sensing the fracture beneath Isolde's steel. Celeste. And did that love demand a price you weren't ready to pay? Isolde's eyes glisten with unshed tears, the walls she built trembling. Isolde. Slowly. I chose duty over desire. Faith over freedom. Celeste leans closer, lips brushing against Isolde's temple, voice like a secret promise. Celeste. Sometimes the greatest sins are the ones we commit against ourselves. Isolde's hands find Celeste's, fingers intertwining, the heat between them a wildfire threatening to consume. Isolde. Soft, desperate. And what if I told you I'm tired of being the saint who's always saving? Celeste's laugh is a low, seductive rumble. Celeste. Then maybe it's time you let someone else carry that weight, even if just for tonight. They stand suspended between confession and temptation, a fragile moment where past and present collide in the dark. The Saint and the Sinner. Part 8. The Surrender. The candlelight flickers, casting dancing shadows on their entwined bodies. Isolde's breath is shallow, her pulse a wild drum beneath the surface of her trembling skin. Celeste's hands roam with fierce tenderness, claiming, exploring, awakening every dormant desire. Celeste. Soft, commanding. Let go, Isolde. Trust the darkness for once. Let me show you the power in surrender. Isolde's lips part in a shaky sigh, the last defenses melting away like wax in the heat of their closeness. Her fingers clutch Celeste's shirt as she leans into the storm of sensation, the line between fear and longing blurring. Isolde, whispering, "I'm yours, but only if you promise to hold me when I fall." Celeste's smile is a dark vow. Celeste, always. In the depths of sin, there's a kind of salvation only we understand. Their bodies move in slow, hypnotic rhythm, an unspoken dance of trust and temptation, a collision of sacred and profane. Every touch, every whispered word, every stolen breath draws them deeper into a night where the only law is desire. The Saint and the Sinner. Part 9. After the surrender, the quiet before the storm. The candles gutter softly, casting fragile light over two figures caught in the aftermath of their shared surrender. The room hums with quiet, breaths slow, hearts still racing beneath the calm. Isolde rests her head against Celeste's shoulder, the fragile peace between them a rare and precious thing. Outside the door, the world waits, judgment, secrets, consequences, a storm gathering on the horizon. Celeste's fingers trace idle patterns on Isolde's arm, a silent promise of protection, but her eyes flicker with knowing. Celeste. Soft, almost distant. We've crossed a line tonight. There's no going back, but maybe, just maybe, that's exactly what we need. Isolde lifts her gaze, searching the depths of Celeste's dark eyes, seeing not just temptation but a fierce, dangerous hope. Isolde. Whisper. Then let the world come. We face it together. A long silence stretches, taut with unspoken fears and unshakable resolve. They stand on the edge, between salvation and damnation, love and ruin. And the night, it's only just begun. The Saint and the Sinner. Part 10. The Gathering Storm. Rain falls in a steady drum, slicking the pavement and turning the neon glow into bleeding streaks of color. The city's heartbeat thrums through the wet streets, distant sirens wailing, footsteps echoing in alleys. A lone figure, draped in a dark hooded coat, leans against the cold brick wall across from the club. The hood shadows a face etched with cold calculation. The figure taps their phone, voice low, barely above a whisper. Voice VO. They crossed the line tonight. The Reverend and the Sinner. That changes everything. Behind the hood, eyes flicker, alert, dangerous. The figure pockets the phone, pulling a slim blade from their coat. The steel catches a sliver of streetlight, a silent promise of violence. From the shadows, two more figures emerge, moving like ghosts, flanking the hooded stranger. Second voice. Quiet, tense. Are you sure about this? If they're together now, it's not just a game anymore. The hooded figure straightens, voice steely. Hooded figure. It's never been a game. And now it's a war. They vanish into the night, footsteps swallowed by rain, leaving the street empty, except for the faint echo of a whispered threat. Above the city, lightning cracks, illuminating the dark skyline in jagged bursts. Somewhere, far away, a clock ticks toward a reckoning none can avoid. The Saint and the Sinner. Part 11. In the Eye of the Storm. The rain's steady rhythm against the window is a quiet drumbeat to their tense breaths. Isolde and Celeste sit close, the heat between them a fragile shield against the cold uncertainty beyond these walls. Isolde traces slow circles on Celeste's hand, grounding herself in the moment. Isolde. Soft, vulnerable. They won't stop. Not now. Whatever this is between us, it's a target. Celeste leans in, eyes glinting with fierce resolve. Celeste. Let them come. We've crossed the line. We can't go back, but we can face it together. Isolde swallows, the weight of her choices heavy on her tongue. Isolde. What if I'm not strong enough? Celeste's smile is a slow, dangerous promise. Celeste. You're stronger than you think. And when you falter, I'll be there to catch you. Their hands entwine, fingers laced in silent vow. Celeste. No more saints. No more sinners. Just us. The room hums with fragile hope and simmering danger, a quiet before the storm that will test everything they hold dear. The Saint and the Sinner. Part 12. Plans in Shadow, Secrets in Light. Isolde pulls a worn leather-bound journal from beneath the pillow, opening it with reverence. Celeste watches, eyes sharp, waiting. Isolde. Low, steady. We need allies. Information. A way to stay one step ahead. Celeste. Smirks. And enemies. Always enemies. The flickering candlelight casts their faces in shifting shadows as Isolde traces a name written in delicate script. Flashback, years ago. A younger Isolde kneels in a candlelit chapel, tears staining her cheeks. A priest's voice echoes as he offers cold absolution, but her eyes betray a storm of rebellion and pain. Priest Vio. You must forsake your past to walk the path of faith. Isolde's whispered refusal lingers. Isolde Vio. I'll carry it, every broken piece. Back in the present, Celeste's gaze darkens. Celeste. Slow, heavy. My past isn't any lighter. The Saint and the Sinner. Part 13. Scars in the Shadows. The candlelight flickers low, casting a fragile glow on Isolde's face as she opens the leather-bound journal. Celeste's eyes are fixed on her, sharp and unreadable. Isolde. Voice steady, but with weight. We can't just hide. We need to strike smart, build a network of allies who don't fear the shadows. Her finger pauses over a name in the journal. Flashback, church chapel night years ago. A younger Isolde kneels, trembling, clutching a folded letter stained with tears. The heavy voice of the priest is stern, echoing around the cold stone. Priest. You must abandon your past sins if you wish to serve the light. Isolde's eyes burn with quiet defiance. Isolde Vio. I couldn't abandon it. My past is all I have. The memory of her father's betrayal, a whispered secret of corruption buried beneath holy vows, haunts her still. Back to the present, Isolde's joy tightens. Isolde. If I reveal this truth, it'll shatter everything they believe in. But it could tip the scales. Celeste's gaze narrows, the flicker of a dangerous idea lighting her eyes. Celeste. Good. Because my past, it's not just blood debts. It's a war. Flashback, underground room, night years ago. Celeste stands over a table, fists clenched as a family crest burns in the firelight. Faces of cold betrayal watch her like vultures. Celeste Vio. My family wanted obedience. Instead, I chose ruin. A younger Celeste's voice, fierce and raw. Celeste. If they want war, they'll get one. The candle sputters, shadows twisting as Celeste steps closer to Isolde. Celeste. We're both marked by secrets, scars that make us dangerous. Isolde. Slow nod. And dangerous people survive by making allies. Together, they pore over maps, contacts, and plans, plotting their moves in a game where trust is scarce and betrayal lurks in every shadow. Celeste. Smirking. Time to find those willing to fight with us, or at least those afraid enough to side with us. The night deepens as strategy weaves through whispered pasts, two fractured souls forging a path through the darkness, ready to ignite a revolution that could either save or destroy them. The Saint and the Sinner. Part 14. Celeste's Crucible. The air is thick with smoke and the sharp scent of burning wood. A large wooden table sits in the center, scarred and stained, bearing the family crest, a black raven clutching a blood-red rose. Flames lick the edges, consuming it slowly. Celeste stands at the head of the table, jaw clenched, fists trembling slightly, eyes blazing with fury. Around her, cold faces, family, sit like judges, their eyes devoid of warmth. Father, stern, cold. You were never meant to choose. Obedience is your bloodline's legacy. Celeste. Voice low but cutting. Legacy? You mean chains. I refuse to be your prisoner. One of her brothers smirks, stepping forward, voice dripping with contempt. Brother. You'll bring ruin to us all if you defy the family. Celeste's gaze snaps to his, fire igniting in her veins. Celeste. Then I will burn it all down. Better to burn than to rot in lies. She steps forward, picks up the burning crest with bare hands, and holds it aloft. Flames crawl up her fingers, but she does not flinch. Celeste. This family's power comes from fear and silence. I choose truth and fire. The room erupts in shouted threats and accusations, but Celeste's voice rises above the chaos. Celeste. I am no one's pawn. I am the storm you never saw coming. She slams the crest into the fire pit, letting it burn to ash. The room falls silent, shock and fury mingling in the heavy air. As the flames consume the crust, a cold smile curls on Celeste's lips, a promise and a warning. Back to the present. Celeste's eyes burn with that same fire as she leans closer to Isolde. Celeste. They tried to bury me in blood and betrayal. Instead, I became the wildfire. The saint and the sinner. Part 15. Forged in fire. Celeste exhales, the weight of her past still thick in the room, yet her eyes spark with unwavering resolve. She lets the memory settle, then turns her full attention back to the scattered maps and contacts sprawled before them. Celeste. Firm, decisive. That fire gave me clarity, who to trust, who to watch. We don't have to fight alone. Isolde nods, fingers brushing a map dotted with names and locations. Isolde. We start here. These are the few who've shown resistance, quietly. She taps a point on the map. Close to the city's edge, a small underground network rumored to oppose the old powers. Celeste. They'll want proof we're not just another threat. Isolde. Then we give them a show. Something they can't ignore. Celeste leans in, a wicked grin curling her lips. Celeste. Then let's light the spark. Let them see the wildfire they're about to face. Their hands meet on the table, a pact sealed not by words, but by fierce, shared purpose. Outside, the rain begins to ease, but the storm inside the city is just gathering strength. The Saint and the Sinner. Part 16. First Strike. Isolde spreads a detailed blueprint across the table, a lavish gala held by a corrupt council member who's a key puppet in the ruling power structure. It's an event dripping with decadence and secrecy. Isolde. Low voice, calculated. This gala is their armor full of their allies and blind eyes. If we disrupt it, even just a little, it'll rattle their whole foundation. Celeste's fingers trace the edges of the map, eyes gleaming with the thrill of the challenge. Celeste. Chaos in silk and diamonds. I like it. Isolde. Our goal isn't to destroy everything. We need leverage secrets, documents, proof of their corruption. Celeste smirks, her mind racing with possibilities. Celeste. And a little chaos to keep them guessing. I will assemble the team. Plan details. Phase 1, Infiltration. Celeste will use her underground contacts to place insiders disguised as staff and security. Phase 2, Distraction. Isolde will orchestrate a diversion, a staged scandal involving a high-profile guest. Phase 3, Extraction. While the eyes are on the scandal, a small team will secure incriminating evidence from the council members' private quarters. Phase 4, Escape. Controlled chaos to cover their retreat, smoke, alarms, and confusion. Celeste locks eyes with Isolde. Celeste. We hit hard, but clean. No unnecessary blood. Isolde. Nods. We show them the power of the fire they ignored. They gather their plans, each heartbeat pulsing with adrenaline and the promise of revolution. The Saint and the Sinner. Part 17, The Strike Team. 1. Celeste, the Wildfire, Leader and Strategist. Role: Mastermind and Field Commander. Fierce, fearless, with a knack for reading people and situations in a flash. Uses her underground network to manipulate, infiltrate, and disrupt. Known for sharp instincts and a fiery temper. Special skill: deep contacts in the city's underground, hand-to-hand combat and intimidation. Personality: intense, driven, with a dry, biting wit. 2. Isolde, the Shadow, co-leader and planner. Role: the brains behind the operation's logistics. Calm, calculated, and meticulous. Expert in reading bureaucratic systems and uncovering secrets. Her calm presence balances Celeste's fire. Special skill: hacking, surveillance, and social engineering. Personality: quietly confident, analytical, and fiercely loyal. 3. Cade, the Ghost, infiltrator and tech specialist. Role: silent and deadly, Cade is a shadow in the night. Expert at bypassing security, disabling alarms, and slipping past guards unnoticed. Handles tech and cyber infiltration. Special skill: stealth, lockpicking, hacking. Personality: reserved, a little sarcastic, with a mysterious past no one questions. 4. Mira, the siren, distraction and social manipulator. Role: uses charm and wit to distract and manipulate key players. Fluent in multiple languages and versed in high society etiquette. Can get into places others cannot. Special skill: acting, seduction, gathering intel through conversation. Personality: flirtatious, cunning, always 3 steps ahead socially. 5. Rafe, the hammer, muscle and extraction expert. Role: physical powerhouse responsible for protection and extraction during the chaos. Handles close combat and crowd control. Special skill: combat, tactical driving, explosives. Personality: gruff but loyal, has a soft spot for the team despite the tough exterior. Team dynamics. Celeste and Isolde's tension is electric but grounded in mutual respect. Cade and Mira have a playful back and forth, teasing but effective partners. Rafe is the silent guardian, watching for any threats to the team. The Saint and the Sinner. Part 18. The team's origin stories. Celeste and Isolde, the fire and the shadow. Their story begins years ago, long before the current rebellion. Celeste was on the run, hunted by the very family she once vowed to destroy. Alone in the city's underbelly, she sought refuge in the forgotten corners of power. Isolde was working quietly inside the system, a ghost in the bureaucracy, secretly unearthing corruption. Their paths collided during a midnight raid on a corrupt official's safe house. Celeste, cornered and outnumbered, was saved at the last second by Isolde, who'd hacked security systems to create a diversion. That night forged an uneasy alliance: Celeste's fire, Isolde's patience, both knowing they needed each other to survive. Cade and Mira, shadows of the past. Cade and Mira first met in a foreign city, during a high-stakes heist targeting a corrupt diplomat's private vault. Cade's skill with locks and tech and Mira's flair for distraction made them an unstoppable duo. But the job went sideways. Betrayed by their employer, they barely escaped with their lives. From then on, they worked together in the shadows, their trust hardened by betrayal and survival. Their playful banter masks a deep understanding, each the other's anchor in a world that trusts no one. Rafe, the hammer. Rafe's path crossed with Celeste's during one of her early attempts to dismantle the city's criminal networks. He was a former soldier turned mercenary, hired by a shadowy client to take her down. But during a violent confrontation, Rafe saw her not as an enemy but as a force of nature, raw, dangerous, and fighting for something real. He switched sides, offering his strength and skills to her cause. His loyalty is unshakable, a silent promise forged in blood and respect. The first meeting. The team officially came together at a rundown safehouse weeks before the planned strike. Celeste laid out the stakes, Isolde mapped the operation, Cade checked the tech, Mira scoped the social scene, and Rafe prepared for the fight. Tensions flared, loyalties were tested, but by the end of the night, they were no longer 5 individuals, they were a force. The Saint and the Sinner. Part 19. Tension and Chemistry. Celeste and Isolde, fire meets shadow. Their leadership styles often clash. Celeste's impulsive, burning passion versus Isolde's cool, calculated precision. Celeste, with a teasing edge. You always want to plan 6 moves ahead, but sometimes the best strike is the one that catches them off guard. Isolde, smiling faintly but firm. And sometimes the best strike is the one that doesn't get caught at all. They push and pull, a magnetic tension that's part challenge, part unspoken trust. In private moments, their eyes hold more than just strategy. There's a flicker of something far more dangerous and enticing. Cade and Mira, shadows and sirens dance. Their banter masks a deep connection forged through survival. Mira, playful, leaning close. You're as quiet as a ghost, but your hands do all the talking. Cade, smirking. And you're the kind of distraction that could get us killed, or keep us alive. Their chemistry is a subtle dance, teasing, challenging, yet unmistakably charged. In moments of stress, they instinctively watch each other's backs, the lines between flirtation and genuine care blurred. Rafe, the silent guardian. Rafe's gruff exterior makes him seem like an outsider, but his loyalty runs deep. He often plays the grounding force when tensions flare. Celeste, frustrated. We can't afford hesitation now. Rafe, steady, calm. Sometimes the best move is to wait and watch. I've got your back when you do. His quiet presence reassures the group, though he occasionally exchanges knowing glances with Mira, a silent understanding of shared past scars. Team dynamics. Celeste's fiery leadership often sparks heated debates, but Isolde's calm logic tempers the flames. Cade and Myra's teasing provides levity, but can explode into serious moments of vulnerability. Rafe's strength and silence keep the team anchored, his loyalty a silent shield. The Saint and the Sinner. Part 20. Pre-strike tensions. The dim room is lit only by the glow of holographic maps and scattered papers. The air buzzes with adrenaline and the scent of strong coffee. Celeste paces fiercely, tension radiating off her. Isolde stands calm but unyielding, arms crossed. Celeste. Snapping. We can't keep hemming and hawing. Either we move now or we lose the edge. Isolde. Cool, cutting. Rushing in blind is how we get caught. Precision beats passion every time. Celeste stops, staring into Isolde's eyes, fire meeting ice. Celeste. Low, fierce. And sometimes passion is the only thing that saves you. Cade leans against the wall, arms folded, eyes half-lidded but alert. Cade. Dryly. Maybe if we spent less time arguing, we'd be done with this planning phase. Mira saunters in, smirking as she lights a cigarette. Mira. Sultry. Oh, Cade, always the voice of reason, or boredom. Rafe steps forward, his presence commanding silence. Rafe. Gruff. Enough. We all want this to work. Let's stop the circus and finish the job. Tension cracks, the room holds its breath. Celeste's gaze flickers toward Isolde, an unspoken question, a challenge. Celeste. Softly. Ready to burn this place down with me? Isolde meets her gaze, a small, reluctant smile tugging her lips. Isolde. Whispering. Only if you promise we do it my way too. A charged silence stretches, the line between business and something dangerously personal blurring. Cade steps closer to Mira, voice low. Cade. You sure you're ready to play the part tonight? Mira. Flashing a wicked grin. Darling, I was born ready. Rafe's steady hand claps Celeste's shoulder. Rafe. Then let's make sure we all come back in one piece. The team shares a look fierce, ready, electric. The Saint and the Sinner. Part 21. The Strike. Dusk, city outskirts, abandoned warehouse district. The sky bleeds purple and orange, shadows stretching long and hungry. The warehouse looms, a fortress of rusted steel and broken windows, guards patrolling like wolves scenting prey. Celeste crouches behind a stack of crates, eyes burning with focus, breath steady despite the adrenaline. Isolde kneels beside her, fingers dancing across a handheld device. A digital map flickers, highlighting guard positions and security cameras. Isolde. Whispering. 3 guards on the east side, rotating every 4 minutes. Cameras sweep in 90-degree arcs, blind spots here and here. Celeste nods, lips pressed tight. Cade melts into the shadows, a phantom slipping between beams of fading light. He disables the camera silently, wires flickering to black. Cade. Softly into calm. East side clear for 2 minutes. Move fast. Inside warehouse, loading dock. Mira steps forward, her heels clicking confidently on cracked concrete. She spots a group of guards gathered near the entrance. With a sultry smile, she approaches, voice smooth as silk. Mira. Soft teasing. Lost boys? Maybe I can help you find your way. Distracted, the guards lower their weapons, enchanted by her effortless charm. Rafe waits by a heavy steel door, muscles coiled like a spring. Celeste and Isolde slip inside, shadows among shadows. Suddenly, a faint click, a trap. Celeste freezes, then lunges, pulling Isolde back as a net snags where they stood seconds ago. Inside warehouse, control room. Isolde swiftly hacks the door's control panel, bypassing security protocols. Isolde. Breathless. Got it. Doors opening in 3. The door swings wide. Rafe storms in, taking down a surprised guard with a brutal, precise strike. Inside warehouse, vault room. Rows of lockers gleam under flickering lights. Celeste kneels before the vault, pulling out a small device. Celeste. Low, intense. This is it. Give me 2 minutes. Seconds crawl like hours. The vault clicks open. Inside, stacks of documents, hard drives, proof of the city's corruption. Escape route. Alarms blare suddenly. Cade's voice crackles over the comms. Cade. We've been made. Extraction point compromised. Celeste grabs a bundle of files, signaling the team. Chaotic retreat. Gunfire echoes. Rafe shields Mira, firing back. Isolde guides the team through a maze of crates and shadowy corridors. Isolde. Left here, a service exit. The team bursts into the night air, hearts pounding, lungs burning. Outside city streets, night. They disappear into the labyrinth of alleys, shadows blending with the dark. Celeste glances back, lips curling in a victorious, fierce smile. The Saint and the Sinner. Part 22, The Strike Enhanced. Outside, dusk, city outskirts, abandoned warehouse district. The low hum of distant traffic fades as the team approaches the rusted fortress. The wind whispers through broken windows, a ghostly lullaby before the storm. Inside warehouse, perimeter. Celeste's heartbeat thunders in her ears, each breath shallow but controlled. Her fingers twitch, craving action, but she stays still, predator locked on prey. The faint click of Isolde's device highlights shadows where guards move like slow sharks circling. Isolde, whispering. 3 guards east side, cycles every 4 minutes. Cameras sweep. Celeste cuts her off with a sharp nod, eyes never leaving the patrol. Celeste, thinking. Timing. 1 wrong move and we're dead. Outside warehouse, east entrance. The camera's mechanical sweep slows to a halt as Cade's hands work expertly. The silence is deafening. Cade, softly into comms. East side clear, 2 minutes. Move fast. Celeste's pulse quickens. Inside warehouse, loading dock. Myra's heels click with deliberate rhythm, a siren in a war zone. The guard's gazes flicker with confusion, then fascination. Mira, soft teasing. Lost boys? Maybe I can help. The tension softens, but the danger sharpens beneath her smile. Inside warehouse, main floor. Celeste freezes mid-step, the faint snap of a wire. A net shoots out, barely missing her. She lunges, dragging Isolde to safety. Celeste, thinking, sharp as a blade. Trap. Too close. Stay sharp. Inside warehouse, control room. Isolde's fingers dance across the panel, hacking with surgical precision. Isolde, breathless. Doors opening in 3. The heavy door creaks and Rafe crashes through, a storm of controlled fury. The vault room. Vault door groans open, revealing the prize, secrets waiting to burn the city's lies down. Celeste's hands tremble slightly as she pulls the drives out. Celeste, thinking. This is everything. The city's poison in my hands. The escape route. Suddenly, the shrill wail of alarms. Chaos explodes. Cade, urgent. Extraction compromised. Move. Gunfire cracks sharp and fast. Rafe's steady voice cuts through the noise. Rafe. Covering you, move. Celeste's mind races. Celeste, thinking. No mistakes. Not now. The chaotic retreat. Bullets ping off metal crates. Myra's breath quick but steady. Isolde's voice guides them through a maze of danger. Isolde. Left, service exit. Almost there. City streets, night. They vanish into darkness, breaths ragged but victorious. Celeste glances back, lips curving with fierce satisfaction. Celeste, thinking. We've lit the spark. Now watch the fire spread. The Saint and the Sinner. Part 23. Victory's Breath. Rooftop overlooking the city, night. The city lights flicker beneath a star-pierced sky, indifferent to the chaos and courage below. The team gathers, breath heavy, bodies taut but unbroken. Celeste leans against the cold railing, the weight of the night settling in her bones. Her fingers curl around the stolen data drive, a silent promise. Isolde stands close, eyes bright with fierce relief, but guarded, always calculating the next move. Celeste. Softly, almost a whisper. We did it. We actually did it. Isolde's lips twitch into a rare smile. Isolde. Not yet done. But this is the spark. Cade lights a cigarette, the glow briefly illuminating his sharp, tired eyes. Cade. Dryly. If you hadn't flirted with those guards, we might have been out sooner. Mira laughs, the sound rich and unguarded. Mira. Charm is a weapon, darling. And I always aim true. Rafe's steady gaze sweeps the group, a protective shield. Rafe. We're not just surviving, we're fighting back. Tonight proves that. The team exchanges glances, a fragile unity forged in fire. Celeste's eyes meet Isolde's again, unspoken acknowledgments passing between them. At the safe house later, the door closes with a soft click. The adrenaline fades, replaced by exhaustion and a bittersweet taste of victory. Celeste sinks into a worn leather chair, the weight of what they carry pressing down. Celeste, thinking, tonight was only the beginning. But damn, it feels like hope. The Saint and the Sinner. Part 24. Quiet between the chaos. The safe house, dimly lit room. The others have drifted away, voices fading down the hallway. The only light is the soft glow of a single lamp, casting long shadows that dance like secrets on the walls. Celeste stands by the window, fingers brushing the cold glass. Outside, the city pulses alive, unaware of the rebellion growing in its shadows. Isolde approaches quietly, the faint click of her boots barely breaking the stillness. Isolde. Softly. You carry more than just the data tonight. Celeste turns slowly, eyes dark and heavy with everything she's held inside. Celeste. Whispers. It's not just the city's poison. It's mine too. Isolde steps closer, closing the space between them, breath warm against Celeste's skin. Isolde. Then let me share the weight. Celeste's breath catches, a flicker of vulnerability beneath her fierce mask. Her hand reaches up, fingertips tracing the line of Isolde's jaw, a touch both tentative and electric. Celeste. Voice low, trembling. I'm afraid that if I let go, I might lose myself. Isolde's gaze burns with quiet fire, steady and sure. Isolde. You won't. Not while I'm here. Their foreheads lean in, breaths mingling, the space charged with unspoken promises. In the hush between heartbeats, the world narrows to this fragile, fierce moment, two souls tangled in shadows and light. The Saint and the Sinner. Part 25. Deeper into the night. The safe house, dimly lit room, continuous. Isolde's fingers slide gently down Celeste's arm, warm against the cool skin, a silent invitation to lower the walls. Celeste's eyes flutter closed, the tension in her shoulders easing, but the storm inside still rages beneath the surface. Celeste. Softly, almost a confession. I've built my walls so high, afraid what might fall through the cracks. Isolde's thumb brushes over a faint scar on Celeste's wrist, a map of past battles and hidden pain. Isolde. Maybe the cracks are where light gets in. Celeste opens her eyes, searching Isolde's face, raw, honest, unflinching. Slowly, she leans in, the space between them electric and fragile. Their lips meet, tentative at first, a question, a test. Then deeper, fiercer, a quiet storm breaking free. Celeste's hands find Isolde's waist, pulling her closer as if grounding herself in the moment. Isolde's breath catches, fingers tangling in Celeste's hair, anchoring her with fierce tenderness. The world outside ceases to exist, only the heat of skin on skin, the whisper of shared secrets, and the promise of something fierce and unbreakable. Soft rain tapping against the window, distant city hum. They part slowly, foreheads resting together, breaths mingling. Celeste. Whisper. With you, maybe I can be more than the fight. Isolde. And I'll fight with you. Every step. The Saint and the Sinner. Part 26. The calm before the storm. The safe house, strategy room, later that night. The soft glow of the lamp reveals the team gathered around a cluttered table, maps and plans spread like fragile hopes. Celeste and Isolde enter together, a quiet strength radiating between them, an unspoken bond forged in fire and whispered promises. Isolde exchanges a glance with Celeste, a subtle nod passing between them. The team feels the shift, something deeper than mission focus now fuels their resolve. Rafe, looking up, nodding. Good work tonight. We have what we need. Celeste, firm, eyes sharp. And now we hit where it hurts the most. No more shadows. The room tightens, a collective breath held. Isolde steps forward, voice calm but charged. Isolde, we move at dawn. Precision, speed, and no mistakes. Celeste's gaze sweeps the team, fierce, determined. Celeste, this isn't just about the city anymore. It's about all of us, our future. Distant siren fades into quiet hum of the city night. Outside, the city sleeps unaware, but the night pulses with impending revolution, with love, with fire, and with unbreakable resolve. The Saint and the Sinner. Part 27, The Next Move. Abandoned warehouse, Pierre-Dawn. A thin mist clings low, muffling footsteps, but sharpening senses. The team assembles silently, each member a shadow among shadows, clad in dark tactical gear that blends seamlessly into the night. Celeste checks the data drive once more, sliding it securely into her pack. Celeste. Whisper, steel beneath softness. This is the key. We shut down their supply chain, cut their veins. Isolde moves beside her, eyes fierce, scanning the perimeter. Isolde. No room for error. Watch each other's backs. Cade, Mira, and Rafe take up positions, eyes sharp, muscles coiled. The air is thick with tension and quiet anticipation. Cade, smirking. Just another day in paradise. Mira lets out a soft chuckle, loading her weapon with precision. Mira. Paradise lost, but tonight, we reclaim it. Warehouse, moments later. They slip inside, shadows weaving between crates and crates of illicit goods, the lifeblood of the enemy. Celeste signals, and the team splits, moving like ghosts. Isolde disables security systems with deft fingers, each beep silenced, a small victory. Celeste approaches the main storage, cold steel eyes scanning, heart pounding. She pulls the device from her pack, ready to erase years of tyranny in a single sweep. Faint hum of machines, distant footsteps. Suddenly, a creak echoes. Eyes flash to the shadows. The first guard appears, a threat to their fragile success. The Saint and the Sinner. Part 28, Clash in the Shadows. Warehouse night. Dim, flickering overhead lights cast long, jittery shadows across towering crates. Celeste's breath is steady but fierce as the guard steps into the pale glow, eyes wide with shock. Guard. Gruff, alarmed. Hey, who's there? Without hesitation, Isolde emerges from the darkness, a phantom. Her movements fluid and lethal. She dispatches the guard with a swift chokehold, silence swallowing his struggle. Before he hits the floor, Mira appears, silencing him with a precise blow, her expression cold and focused. Cade moves to cover their rear, weapon trained, every nerve taut. Celeste wastes no time, fingers flying over the device, the countdown blinking like a heartbeat. Suddenly, a second guard storms in, gun raised. Rafe reacts instantly, tackling him to the ground in a brutal, controlled motion. The fight is a dance of shadows and steel, every sound amplified, the crack of bones, the whisper of breath, the rapid pulse of adrenaline. Isolde's eyes meet Celeste's for a split second, a silent promise to hold this line, no matter what. Explosions of muted gunfire echo as they disable alarms and sabotage equipment. With the device armed, Celeste yanks a smoke grenade from her belt, hurling it into the far corner. A thick cloud of white envelopes the room, chaos swallowing sight. Through the haze, the team moves as one, ruthless, precise, unstoppable. Muffled shouts, distant sirens, heavy breathing. As the smoke clears, the team regroups, breath ragged but victorious. Celeste grips Isolde's hand tightly, a touch of fierce reassurance amidst the aftermath. The Saint and the Sinner. Part 29, The Great Escape. Warehouse, smoke still thick. The team melts through the haze like ghosts, every step measured but hurried. Alarms blare suddenly, shrill and unforgiving, the enemy awakening to their assault. Rafe. Grim. They're onto us. Move. Isolde covers the rear, weapon ready, eyes sharp as shadows flicker at the edges. Celeste leads, heart pounding, the device secured. They burst through a side door into a narrow alley slick with rain. Alleyway night. Cold rain lashes, mixing with the sweat and adrenaline. The distant wail of sirens grows louder, their pursuers close behind. Mira slides a compact crossbow from her pack, firing silent bolts at the gates and locks to delay the chase. Cade pulls out smoke bombs, tossing them in strategic bursts, thick plumes billow, swallowing their trail. Isolde's voice cuts through the chaos, sharp and clear. Isolde. Split at the corner. Rendezvous at Point Echo. Celeste hesitates, then nods, trust anchored in their plan. They scatter into the maze of streets, heartbeats drumming in sync with the pounding rain. City rooftops, continuous. The team races across slick rooftops, leaping over gaps with practiced grace. Below, floodlights sweep the streets, searchlights piercing the dark like accusing eyes. Celeste's breath comes fast, lungs burning, but her focus is unbreakable. Isolde's hand finds hers for a fleeting moment, grounding her in the chaos. Safe house dawn. They slip through the door as first light bleeds into the sky, soaked and breathless, but alive. The team exhales as one, victory bittersweet, but theirs. Celeste raises the device, a silent promise in her eyes. Celeste. Softly. This is just the beginning. Distant birdsong, city waking. The Saint and the Sinner. Part 30, Point Echo, abandoned train yard, just before sunrise. Rust creeps along the skeletal remains of the old station. Fog curls low across the tracks, ghost-like. The silence is deafening, interrupted only by the crunch of gravel beneath careful feet. One by one, they emerge from the mist. Rafe first, bloodied but grinning. Then Mira, eyes scanning every shadow. Cade arrives next, twirling a blade between his fingers, adrenaline still in his veins. And then Celeste. She appears from between two rusted cars, damp curls stuck to her cheeks, eyes wild with relief. And finally, Isolde, breathless, muddy, and alive. The moment is fragile. Charged. No words spoken. Just the locking of gazes, hearts hammering in time. Celeste. Barely audible. You made it. Isolde. Stepping closer. I told you. Always. They don't kiss. Not yet. Not here. But the gravity between them hums like a heartbeat. Safe house, later that day. The team crowds around a dusty laptop, the air thick with anticipation. On screen. Footage rolls, explosions at distribution centers. News reports of high-ranking arrests. Corrupt accounts exposed. Assets frozen. Panic. Their enemy's empire toppling like dominoes. The room bursts into laughter and relieved gasps. Cade. Tossing back whiskey. Cheers to beautiful vengeance. Mira. Grinning. And the queens who orchestrated it. Eyes turn to Celeste and Isolde. For the first time, they don't flinch from the spotlight. Rafe. Raising a toast. To saints and sinners. May they always burn together. They finally kiss, slow, deep, and dangerous. Like everything that brought them here. Montage months later. A small ceremony on windswept cliffs. Celeste in black lace. Isolde in storm gray silk. Wind in their hair. Salt in their kiss. An old house, half ruins, half sanctuary. They rebuild it together, brick by brick, breath by breath. A wall filled with photographs. The team. Missions. Laughter. Scars. A life earned. Celeste tending to a rose garden. Isolde watching her, smile soft and stunned. No longer running. No longer hiding. Just living. Balcony night. They sit beneath the stars, a glass of wine each. The city below hums quietly, no longer haunted. Isolde. Whispering. Do you miss it? The fight. Celeste. Smiling, brushing her thumb over Isolde's ring. Not when I'm winning like this. They lean into each other. The fire's still there, but now it warms instead of burns. Two sinners who tore down the world to build their own. Thank you so much for listening. Please subscribe and like this video and follow me for more stories. You are always welcome here, and leave me a comment or a thumbs up, just letting me know if you like the story and would like more, or is there perhaps an idea that you would like to share or let me write for you.